getting into the zone to talk about 43 books is... How do you do that? I don't know. Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about the 43 books I read in October, because I don't know what happened there. It's a lot of manga, granted, because I had one manga night and I had a readathon where I read like 10. But even if you count those, obviously I count everything. Even if you take away those from the counting, it's still a lot of books. It's my best reading month of all time. I'm gonna just go and hide. I don't know what's wrong with me. But without further ado, we really need to talk quickly about these books, so let's get started. October was another month where I read Berserk Volume 11 as well as Volume 12, the deluxe editions, which never happens, but it happened. I have vlogs for these. I don't think any of them are out yet. The last one I posted was for 10, I think. And they will be coming. This one I read for manga nights together with some other mangas, and this one just read for the first of the month because I was a bit behind, and I'm very excited for myself that I'm almost caught up. It's one of the best things I ever read. We follow Gatsu as a sportsman and we see his life, like how he came where he is now, where everything is dark and sad. All the way in the beginning at least. I mean, it's always dark and sad. I just meant why it was dark and sad at that particular point in his life. And we go back in time and we experience a lot of sadness and brutality and lots of ugly stuff. But I highly recommend it, even though I do of course recommend checking out the trigger warnings because it is terrible, but it is amazing. Then I also read One Piece. This was 13, 14 and 15. A vlog will be coming once again. I have vlogs for others that I also have not posted. And it was amazing. Really enjoying the story so far. Obviously follows Luffy and his crew that is going to become the king of the pirates. And I didn't read more in One Piece in the month, even though I definitely should have read one more according to my calculations. But my camera broke, so I was busy not filming. But yeah, I have plans to at least read 2 more of these omnibus editions in November and December. Spoilers if you don't want to know what Secret Project 4 was, but I read Secret Project 4, The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. I assume most people know the title and everything by now. I have a full review on my channel of this. Don't remember how well what I said. But this is obviously the deluxe edition, etc. I haven't taken it out of this plastic yet. I don't know when and if I will. But yeah, this was the 4th and final Secret Project. This was very much Cosmere of all of them. And I'm not going to talk more about the plot in case people haven't read, you know, any Cosmere, etc. But definitely recommend reading it when you read other stuff in the Cosmere. Check out my review, it's spoiler free. You can enjoy. Yay. I didn't love it, by the way. I think I will love it more when I read or reread Cosmere and when it's on the archive arc 1 is done. So I give it like 3 out of 5. I read Chainsaw Man Volume 5, Suzuki Fujimoto. Chainsaw Man got moved up a lot because we watched the anime and I didn't want to watch ahead. And this follow Denji, who can turn his arms and head into a chainsaw. And then a lot of people want to him for some reason. And then he's fighting these demons with his chainsaws, and it's really fun and really weird. I then read The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This was the final book in the first trilogy in the Inheritance games. She wrote another book about the brothers. I actually really liked the ending of this. I thought it was really fun to see the conclusion of stuff. I really liked the game that we were playing in the end, and I liked the resolution of everything that happened. So I had a good time overall. I loved the first one, felt okay about the second one, and the third one was satisfying enough for me to be like, okay, fine, it was a good enough trilogy and I would recommend it. And I gave this like 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think I gave it like 4. Then I read Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. This one, it was the news books by the author that was released last year, but I was waiting for the paperback maybe the year before that. I actually don't know. I really love the first 2 books. It has really good family relations and complexions of the characters. This one is about something completely different. It's kind of set in the future where we are in this like dystopia sort of world where people hate Asians, if I remember correctly, and then a main character's mother left them to kind of join the rebellion, and then it's like a 12-year-old main character that goes and looks for his mother, and he might or might not find her. We might get that story. I think the relationship between the mother and son was very complex and interesting, but I don't think the characters and like the story here interested me as much as in the other books, even though that maybe sounds weird because that was more like American life as an Asian family going through different like stuff, while here was like should have been more an interesting story for me, but I just didn't care. It was very like poetic and beautiful writing, and I just kind of lost myself a bit in it. So I give it like 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate it or anything, it was not my favorite by the author. So then I read Lords of Night on audiobook, and I also got myself a copy, and Dawn of the Jaguar by Gilda Stories, which was an arc. I have a full review on my channel of this. So this one follows Ran, who is a character in the Stormrunner series that now got her own series, or like duology, and she goes on her first mission. She's godborn as well as a shadow bruja, and maybe it's time to do the dark side where these Lords of Night are coming. They want to take over the world, etc. Very, very, very fun adventure. Love the crew we got there. We had a really sassy little hunter and a emo demon, and obviously the god of death was also present. If you have read the Stormrunner, you might or might not know why, but it was just the greatest time. I really, really enjoyed myself. Really loved the conclusion overall. Had a really good time, giving them both 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Demon Slayer Volume 15 and Volume 16. I didn't read them right after one another, but I just taking them together here. So this one follows Sanjiro, whose whole family is killed by a demon, except his sister is turned into one. He goes and becomes a demon slayer to find a cure for his sister, and we have these different arcs fighting demons. It is amazing, amazing series. I really, really enjoy it. And here we finally, I was gonna say finally, finished this arc that I wasn't as interested in, which I feel like maybe I will enjoy more when I watch the anime, but I really, really enjoyed the conclusion of that arc and going into the next one, and now I'm absolutely, absolutely terrified, but very, very excited to see what comes next. We are in the last arc, I think, now. I'm terrified. I have like basically all of the rest of the volumes except one, but it takes me a while to get them done because of my system, but just love the series a lot and very, very excited to finish it. But also like I don't want to finish it because I don't want it to end, you know. I then read Poirot Investigates by Agatha Christie, which was a nice one to read. It's like a short story collection, but it's not a short story collection because we follow the same like, what's it called, case, but they all collected together. I didn't really understand, but we also don't follow Poirot's point of view but his friend. Do we usually do that? I don't remember because I read 1 and 2 like 3 years ago. Don't remember anything. I have a lot of them now, so I should continue. I'm slow, but I read at least 1 now in October, and it was okay. I give it like 3 out of 5 stars. I then finally finished Fires of Heaven by Bob Jordan. I used like a whole week to just listen through this because I was so behind and I needed to finish it for the live show, and I really, really enjoyed it. Apparently the first time I read it I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, but now the second reread I would give it 4. I really, really enjoyed some of the things that evolved in here and was revealed and came together, and it was such a good time. Already started Lord of Chaos, and I'm very excited to read it. And yeah, I was late finishing this because I should have read it like in September, but such is life. Okay, so we had a little Patreon readathon in October as well, where the theme was like airy, horror, scary, etc., you know, for the season we were in. And the first book I read for that was The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This one was something I was supposed to finish early in that week, but I never got to it, so I just did it for the readathon. And this one follows this boy who goes back to his childhood home and remembers what happened at the time when he was a kid that he keeps forgetting, and then we get that whole story like where he had an evil nanny and other things. And I have the illustrated version, so it's absolutely stunning to read. Like, look at this, like an absolutely beautiful book. I really, really enjoyed Neil Gaiman's writing, and it was an enjoyable time. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Now for the same readathon, I picked up randomly what I was going to read in a wheel, which I have done a vlog for, but also my camera broke in the middle of the readathon, so it sucked. So yeah, I haven't actually looked at that footage yet. But the next thing that was picked out was The Lewismannen by Peter May. This one is the second book in like the Black House. That is the Norwegian title of the first one. The Lewis trilogy, I think it's called in English. And it basically is set on these like islands outside. Island of Lewis, outside like up in UK somewhere. That's, I don't know geography, okay? I can't even say the word. So yeah, and it was like this detective and murders and stuff happens. And in this first one, I actually quite enjoyed, and I was very surprised because this is not my kind of genre. And then I read this one, I was like, will I like it? And it was actually quite good. I really liked the mystery. I really enjoyed like our characters and like how everything played out. And I was like, dang, I had a really, really good time. And I'm going to read the next one, which I don't have. So I need to get that in hardcover for them to match. And I need to remember that this is actually a very enjoyable crime series that I usually don't enjoy at all. So again, very happy for myself that I realized this. Now, I did read one manga series in between every full-length book I read, but I will talk about that in the end. I will just talk about the full-length books first. Next thing that was picked out was One Pirates 3, or just One Pirates was picked out. So I have read this before. This is the third one, but I never actually managed to continue the series because it wasn't translated when I was a kid. Still, they're not still translated, I just remembered, but my point is that I couldn't continue because I didn't know English at the time. Now I have the whole series, so I thought, why not? I'll finally continue. It is overly fits for the horror readathon because it has pirates, which can be horror, but also it has vampire pirates, which is definitely horror. We follow Grace and Connor, who was twins, and they get separated. One ends up on a pirate ship, the other one on a vampire pirate ship. And then it plays out different stuff in this world. It's happening. People, I was going to say, don't like the vampires. Some do. It's like political stuff. And it's really, really fun. I really, really like the series. And I'm excited to actually maybe finish it one day, now that I have it. I think I give it 3, 4, I don't know. Then I read The Devotion of Suspect X, which is the English title for this Japanese crime book, which in Norwegian is called Fatal Hengivenhet by Keigo Higashino. This one I picked out because my professor translated this and started his own publishing company, and I thought it was so cool I had to pick it up. And this is, as I said, a crime novel where we have like this, I was going to say professor dude that keeps helping the police, but here we actually follow more the perspective of the people doing it and see it play out. And you think, well, I already know what happened, so like, why would I be interested in seeing these people unravel this mystery? And I loved it. It was so good. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I didn't know that it was going to be this good. I have enjoyed other like crime from Japan before, so I shouldn't have underestimated it, but I just don't know. I just didn't know what it would give me. It was amazing. The plot twists, the characters, the writing, the translation was so good as well. Oh, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was so great, and I want to kind of reread it just to see like the different pieces falling into place. It was so good. Would recommend beyond words. And yeah, I obviously have the Norwegian edition, but it does exist in English as well. But oh, my heart! So good. The last full-length book I read for that readathon was No Gods, No Monsters by Cadwell Turnbull. This one is the same author as The Lessons, which I really, really enjoyed. And this one I'm looking at the synopsis because I don't know how to describe the book. We have this killing happen of the brother of one of our main characters who was black. So it looks like police brutality case, but turns out it's more of a supernatural case. And it turns out the supernatural creatures, etc. are real. But then it's also kind of parallel worlds, or like at least space stuff. And I, to be honest, was a bit confused. And I feel like the book was a bit too smart for me. But it was still enjoyable, and I enjoyed the writing. And I know it's a sequel coming, so I'm curious to read that and see if it all makes more sense then. It was a curious, weird book, but still really good. So I think I gave it 3 or 4, I don't remember. It all blends together. But it was interesting, definitely. I was just like, what? Which is, yeah, you know. Now, since I had a horror readathon, I decided to read one horror manga, which I have put off for a billion years to finish, which is, I'm trying to show you without losing them. It's Happiness by Shusho Oshimi, the whole series. This is 10 volumes, so I read 5 books. So between every book, I read 2 volumes of Happiness for the readathon. And in this one, we follow these characters that basically one of them turns into a vampire. And then everything goes to shit. And it's dark and weird and bloody. And I had actually read all 8 first volumes before, but it's many years ago and I have forgotten everything. And I had to reread them anyway. But I thought if I ever reread, I might as well just finish the whole thing. And I thought, well, it's perfect for a readathon. So I bought on a 10 for the readathon so I could finish it up. And I did, and it was such a good time. I've kind of forgotten how good the story is. And there's this break that happens in the middle of the series that I didn't enjoy the first time I read it because it was so long between each volume. But now that I read them all after one another, it was so easier to immerse myself into the story and see the full picture. And I really, really appreciated that. And it was such a good time. So obviously that was 10 of the books for the month, which is why my number ended up on 43, obviously. But such is life. I don't care. I read a lot. Shouldn't minimize myself, you know. And it was really, really great to actually finish it and had a good time. And it was really hard to show you, but I'm gonna put them down now. And I'm happy Haha, that I finished happiness. Need to be smart with these readathons, you know. Then I read Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. This one is a witch book where these characters belong to this coven, which is secret. And then one inside the coven is basically very transphobic, and then everything goes to shit. And it was a bit weird. I just don't know how I felt about the book overall. Like, the conflict for me was very important because basically now the evil person is a turf. But it was also just very intense on it, and it was just like over and over and over, and I felt very like uncomfortable reading it, which is what you're supposed to feel, but I was just like, this is it. I don't know how to describe it because it's obviously a very important conflict that is important to see happen, but I just didn't know like that will be the conflict. I don't know. And I felt like I didn't care about the characters and like many different stuff, but I thought some were done well, but other parts I was like uninterested in. So yeah, I gave it like 3 out of 5. I felt fine for it. I didn't like love it like a lot of other people did. Sorry, Aslak. It was Aslak's pick from the Gun Machine, so sorry. Then I read The Heroes by George Abercrombie for Catch Up Book Club. This one is a battle told between different perspectives. And like other first law book in this world, I didn't care about anything that happened. I didn't care about the characters. I cared like for 1.2 seconds about like one of them. And then I forgot everything that happened. I think I gave it 2 stars. And I don't want to talk about this series anymore. Are we soon done? I feel like I've been reading it for ages. Are we not soon done yet? Then I read Nightrender as well as Dawnbreaker, both by Jodie Meadows. And this one is a YA fantasy duology, which I have a full review on my channel, so I'm not going to speak that long about it, but this is basically where this world is haunted by this malice. They need to summon the Nightrender for her to fight back this malice, but they haven't done it in 400 years because they didn't like what happened last time when they did it, and now they have done it once again, and we should see how it plays out. It was very, very fun. I really, really enjoyed the first book. I'm very, very surprised that I enjoyed it as much. I enjoyed the second one as well, but I felt like a lot of aspects of the story was rushed, but I still had a good time overall with the duology. I recommend checking out my review for more in-depth thoughts. But yeah, gave the first one 4, the second one 3. So then I had the third manga night. So I read Berserk 12, which I showed you earlier, and 3 more mangas, or 4 apparently. So I read Love is a War Volume 1 by Aka Akasaka, which basically these 2 characters like each other but don't want to admit it because then they lose. So they make this whole battle to make the other person admit that they have feelings for the other, and it's just chaos, and I love it, and it was one of the best things I ever come across. Okay. I read Snow White with the Red Hair by Surata Akiduki. So this one follows Shirayuki, which basically means Snow White, and she is sought after because she has really red hair, but then this prince saves her, and then he's like, work for me, and then she's fighting to work for him, kind of, because she wants to prove herself, because she's also a herbalist. And then yeah, I think it's basically a love story between the 2 of them. So it was enjoyable. I didn't like hate it or anything like that, but I didn't like love it either. And I'm curious to see still when I will really start shipping them. Then I read Totally Upon Hanako-kun by Aida Iro, which basically follows this girl in the school that meets the mysteries and supernatural creatures of the school, and she gets a special bond with Totally Upon Hanako-kun, who is cursed on this toilet, and they discover and explore and get attacked by spirits, and it's a great time. It's a great time. And then the last thing for that manga night was Goodbye Eri by Tatsuki Fujimoto. This one was amazing. It is basically about this person who makes a film, and then we're in the film, but then we're in the film kind of, and we don't know what's real or not, and that's kind of the point, like, what happened? Did this thing happen, or are we in the film and we don't know? And it's very, very, very weird, very sad. Everyone dies. My heart, but is it real? Did they die? I don't know. And it's just amazing. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It was so good, and just the way the story was told, the narrative, I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I honestly, like, it was one of the best things. So, oh, I'm getting goosebumps out to my toes. It was so good. It's a standalone as well, so don't complain and read it. Don't complain. You don't have any excuses, okay? It was just very weird, but very sad. A lot of death. So then I read Sword Catcher by Cassandra Clare, which arrived, and I obviously had to read it at once. And this one is the adult debut of Cassandra Clare, and we're set in this city where we have a sword catcher, aka a bodyguard for a prince, and a girl who is a healer. and then their paths cross and they need to survive in this political landscape of the city where like the people living on the top of the city are like the rich and then it goes poorer as we go further down or something like that. I don't think that this was bad, but I don't think it was amazing either. I thought that a lot of things did not happen over this thick of a book. It was like 600 pages long and I felt like nothing happened. We just kept going on and on and on and on. And I was just like, I think it's gonna happen soon. I get that it was like a political slow book and that we were building the world, but I also felt like the world building weren't like amazing either. Felt like I was missing parts of it. I felt like I want to care more about the characters. I felt like I want to care more about everything. I sound very, very negative, but I just felt like it was just so slow paced. Nothing happened. And I was sitting after it like, what? This is it? Like, we're not going to get more than this in this first installment. So I get it, this is serious and everything like that. And I love Cassandra Clare, but I just didn't love this book. And I would give it like 3. Did I run out of the 4 on Goodreads? I don't remember, but I liked it. I just wished more of everything. And yeah, that's what I got. Then I read The Fragile Threads of Power by V. Schwab. So I read 2 of my favorite authors right after one another with their news releases. It was a time and I didn't love it. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot of parts of it. I'm shadowing my face with the book. I think it was so fun to see the characters again. I feel like Lila Bard had like a reverse character development and I feel like the things that was happening was so obvious that it was a bit annoying. Like, oh no, we need a solution to this thing, and then we meet another character who has like that thing and I'm like, and then that thing happened. I was like, okay. Because it was just so straightforward. I wish it was more like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Because we don't know, but we knew right away. And I was just like, okay, fine. But we had a new character in this one. What's her name again? It doesn't say her name. I have forgotten it. Tess is her name. And I really enjoyed her. I thought she was really great. I really enjoyed, as I said, seeing everything again. But it's also super slow paced. Like, it was so slow paced. It took such a long time to get into the story. The main path for some of these characters, I just didn't care. I couldn't care less about the main conflict. I just wanted to see the characters again. And then one of our characters is going through this thing. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read the first trilogy. And I was just like, are we going to solve this soon? It took just such a long time because they were just moping. And I was just like, can you just... it was annoying. But it was all the parts that was just revealed that happened off page. I was like, what is going on? But at the same time, we had some consequences for things happening. And I'm very curious to see how those will matter in the world in the future. So I did enjoy it. I love this world. I would love Sharp's writing. And obviously, like, yeah, but there was so many things I felt. So it made me very emotional, but there was still a lot of stuff that could have been done differently for me, which I explained really badly here, but I don't want to spoil anything either. But yeah, no, I read it and I enjoyed it. Give it 3. And I don't remember what I said about it in my blog, but I also blogged when I read everything here. I just haven't posted it yet. I then read Speaking Bones by Ken Liu, which is the final book in the Dandelion Dynasty series. And I actually really enjoyed this more than the other ones, because I had struggles with the series because I felt very like historic. You don't feel an emotional attachment to the characters because of how it's written. But I really enjoyed being with our characters here because I actually finally got an overview of them. And honestly, the long game here, the plot twists and reveals here, I was like, what is going on? It was so great. I really truly enjoyed those parts of the book. It like blew my mind. And now I feel like I missed those blow my mind moments in the other books. Or if it just didn't have as great blow my mind moments as in this one. But yeah, it gets a really strong 3 out of 5 stars. A lot of parts of this book that I still like struggle with. I still felt myself lost in those parts. But the parts that were great here was truly great. And I'm happy I read the whole series, but it's definitely not a favorite. But still like an enjoyable one overall. And now I kind of want to reread because now as I know the full picture, I want to go back and see if I could see it then. But I'm also like, Sandra, you didn't even love reading it the first time. Why would you reread? But I am curious. I might do the audiobook one day, but I will wait a bit. Yeah, that's what I got. I gave it a very strong 2 out of 5 stars. Then I finally read Saga Volume 10, which obviously continues after the break. It was weird to read it as they are now, but it was still interesting and I really enjoyed the series and I'm curious to see what will and how it will conclude. Then I have Gorgeous Gruesome Faces by Lena Chang. This I have a full review on my channel. But it follows this girl that was part of a group of idols, and then one of them died, and she is trying to figure out like what happened then, and then in the future she meets like the other group member again, and there is stuff going on there too. And it was just very interesting. I really ended up enjoying it. I loved like the competitiveness, the sapphic-ness, the like standards of beauty, etc., and just some really cool supernatural added stuff as well. So yay, I gave it a really strong 4 out of 5 stars and very much recommend, and check out my review. Then I have the Gilda Stories by Javel Gomez. This one is for now the last monthly Face and Gaze book we did now in October, and we will do some read ones instead. And this one is following this girl who's turned into a vampire, and then we just follow her life through time. And we haven't had a live show yet as I'm filming this, but I really enjoyed seeing the story, while there was other parts I have problems with as well, because I kind of didn't care about a lot of the parts, but the parts I did care about we didn't see as much. So yeah, I'm feeling like but I'm curious to see like how I would change my mind, or if like I can shed more light on the stuff that I didn't love as much in the live show. But yeah, I read it and it was a okay good read. Like more on the good side than anything else, but like not a new favorite. And the last thing I ended up reading for the month was Killing Stalking 2, like the deluxe editions. So it collects many chapters in one. And actually, as I said, I don't remember if I said it here, but when I read the first one, I had actually read it all before on like a translated website like years ago, and then I was kind of just like rereading that again. But here I haven't actually read anything, and it was very interesting to see where this relationship, I'm saying relationship not as in they are like a happy couple, but like they have a relationship with each other in a way, will develop. It just goes darker and darker and weirder and weirder and worse and worse, and it was enjoyable. I can't really say that I love it, because I feel like that's a wrong word to use for this kind of series. But I kind of love it, because I kind of love just twisty dark stuff like this. But it's also, of course, terrible. But I had a good time, and I'm curious to see what will happen next. Yay. That was the 43 books I read in October. Obviously, with the help of manga a lot, but still many other good chunkers here. I actually got to all of my like anticipated releases this fall now, which I'm very happy about. And yeah, that's what I got to say. Leave a vampire emoji down below if you enjoyed this. You should see me soon in a new one. Thank you so much for watching, and you should see me soon. Goodbye.